We started off in a little 1,000-square-foot building with cinder block and a tin roof.
Dirt alley
Just to kind of get our feet wet and get it started. And we're in this place now, which is, about 13,000 square feet, I guess.
We've added on to this place 3 times since we've been in it.
Well, guys, I'm really happy that we're all finally here. Shout out to Darren Everson for this, the third base coach and bench coach and assistant hitting coach for the Omaha Storm Chasers. Big shout out to him for making all this happen. And I just want to thank you guys for the hospitality here.
Yeah,
Sure,
absolutely.
no problem.
Our
Good
pleasure.
to have you.
So, guys, if you guys don't know who these guys are, these are Scott and Brent Deremer with Deremer Sportswear. And for those who don't know what Deremer Sportswear is, they are a sports screen printing company here in Omaha, and they've been here for 8 years now, correct? Moved here from California, and basically what they do, if you ever see a travel baseball team with their really cool uniforms, Deremer Sportswear probably made that or helped them out with that. And we're going to be talking more about that. We're going to be talking about how this all happened in the first place, as you guys are big into baseball. And we're also going to be talking about just like the competitiveness in this industry, especially in Nebraska, if it's big, if it's little, how much people know about it. So we're going to get down to all that. And again, I want to thank you guys for being here. And so before we start off with talking about baseball in this industry, I wanted to get to know you guys a little bit more.
Sure.
So let's talk about where you guys grew up in, how big is baseball in your family. So can we start back to where you guys were living in California, correct?
Yeah.
Let's go back to that time.
Well, we grew up out in San Jose, California, and just like everybody else, you turned 5, you start playing t-ball, and and so on. So, my dad, who helped us open this place, passed away a few years ago. He was kind of the guy in South San Jose. I mean, San Jose is the biggest, 9th biggest city in the country, and if you had anything to do, or you had anything to do, or played, or coached, or anything, Pop Warner football or Little League baseball, you knew my dad. He was the president of the biggest Little League. He was the president of the largest youth football organization, and so we're just in it all the time, And so then my mom started running concessions for it, and it was just
And the boosters.
And so our family, whether my team or his team was playing that night, our family was at that Little League complex, 6 days a
Every
week
night.
basically. So
And on the football field.
yeah, same. So that's all we did. We just played baseball and football,
Were your parents, would you say, were pretty strict with you guys being active in some sort of sport at all times?
No, he can tell the story better, but, it happened that, we lived in a little neighborhood where I was the youngest by far, and then Brent was the second youngest, and then everybody else after that was older than Brent. And a couple of the older kids were getting ready to go to football practice, and Brent was like, Dad, can I play football?
Hey, they play football across the street.
Can I go play too? And my dad said yes and got him signed up, and there it started. I mean, honestly, and I tried to play too. I was a little bit too young, so I had to be the ball boy for 1 year before I can start my year. But yeah, I mean, like you say about my dad, I mean, there's not much else you can say besides he was. If you played Little League baseball or Pop Warner football, you knew who my dad was.
Yeah. And it was our little
it was
complex.
awesome.
We didn't grow up with any, my parents didn't have any money. So we grew up in an apartment complex across the street from high school that we ended up going to. And it was the best thing that could have happened, I mean, once they made enough money for us to get a house, I was in high school already, or 8th grade or something, and there's a handful of kids on your street. But in that huge apartment complex, there was dozens and dozens and dozens of kids. So we'd come home from school, and everybody knew right in the middle of it, we called it the big square, and it wasn't that big. But it was where everybody met, and it had a big
We thought
field.
it was massive when we were
And
little.
that's where we met every day after school. You get home, we'd watch Scooby-Doo at 3 o'clock, like the whole neighborhood, right in your own apartment, and then you met at the big square. And that's where we decided what sport we were playing until it was time to go in the house at night. And so, yeah, I mean, our entire neighborhood, that's all we did was play something every day.
Didn't matter what it was.
Yeah. So
And we were never big soccer players or anything, but we would play soccer in the big field right next to the big square, which again we thought was massive, and it really wasn't that big.
yeah, we've been active forever.
So your community back in your childhood played a huge role to where you guys are at right now.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The community, without that community, without us playing those sports, I mean, I don't know what
The apartment complex was massive for us, I think, and then, and honestly, Little League and Pop Warner football, there was no travel ball back then, for any sport. So, you played your Tuesday or Wednesday night game, and then you played your Saturday afternoon game, and that was it. And then, Your league was over after 18 games, and then you played Little League or the All-Stars, and you tried to make it to the Little League World Series. And that was your Little League season, and it was over.
You throw your glove in the corner of the garage and get ready to start playing football August 1st.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean,
If
that
you
was it. It's funny around here. Everybody says, oh, it's not fair. Everybody in the West Coast gets to play all year round. Maybe they do now because everybody's specializing in sports. But back then, we played 18 games, All-Stars, threw the baseball stuff in the closet and played football. Didn't touch a baseball till it was baseball season again. You know what I mean? So out here with all the indoor facilities and everything else, I mean, the kids are playing just as much year-round here as they are anywhere else, to be honest.
So after high school, both of you guys played college baseball, correct? Can you guys talk about how that went for you guys?
Yeah. I'll
You're older.
Yeah,
You go ahead.
both played at San Jose City College, one of the better junior colleges programs and coaches in the country. You know, it was one of those things you work your tail off for him, and you give him a list of what schools you want to go to, and he gets you one of them. You know, that's what his line was. So I ended up signing with Cal State Fullerton. So I went down to Southern California and played a year, and you know, baseball side of it, I liked it. It was fun. I mean, we were top 20. You know, I mean, it was a great program and program that makes it to Omaha on a regular basis, and I just didn't like it. Like I liked the baseball part of it. I just didn't like going to school there. I didn't like. There was no football team. The basketball team was garbage. The only good sport on campus was us. So you couldn't go watch us. You know, we were us. So. And back then, there's no transfer portal, so I just didn't want to stay there. So to leave, I had to sit out a year if I was going to play Division I, or I could play NAIA. So I called the NAIA school that was recruiting me at the same time, which was Lewis Clark State up in Idaho. And so I called them, and they had a spot for me. So I finished up in Lewiston, loved it, loved everything about it, loved the small town, loved the baseball, loved everything about it. So nothing was handed to us. We worked our tail off at that place. I mean, we chopped wood to raise money, chopped wood for the neighborhoods, you know, for the people who supported us so that we could raise money to go on road trips. I mean, it was great. I mean, it was the cut that for me that I loved it.
Thank you for sharing, Brent.
Yeah.
Scott, what's your story real quick?
Same, man. I followed, you know, back home, junior college is different. You go to the junior college that's closest to your house, you know, because they're literally on every corner.
There's no recruiting.
The junior college coaches were only allowed to recruit certain high schools. They couldn't go talk to all the high schools. They only had certain areas that they can go talk to. And it's a recruiting violation if the coaches went and talked to other kids in certain districts or different high schools. So nobody had dorm rooms or anything back then. We just went to the closest one. We lived at home. You know, I don't remember ever growing up saying, hey, I want to play Division I baseball. I want to play professional baseball. I just played, you know, and my sophomore year was going to San Jose City College, and I got a letter from University of Arkansas Little Rock. I had a couple of buddies that were playing there, and I went to my coach and I said, what do I do? He goes, you better go sign that piece of paper before they realize that they messed up, because it was a full boat, you know, full everything. You didn't pay a dime to go to school. It wasn't a lot like that, you know, back then for the Division I, just like now. So I had a good sophomore year. I packed up and moved to Little Rock, Arkansas, and stayed there for 2 years. The funny part is, about after the third day, I called my dad and I said, I'm coming home. Like, the culture shock from San Jose to Little Rock was massive. And he says, the hell you are. You're on a full ride. You're not coming home. So it was the best decision for me, too. It ended up being really good for me. I really ended up liking it. I got a lot of good friends that still live down there. I got treated very well by Coach Hogan. I couldn't ask for anything more, honestly.
If you guys wanted to, could you guys play pro, whether it was the minors, the MLB, or even independent?
So I got drafted out of junior college. Weird. So my scout, Lloyd Christopher, he was an older gentleman. He was a scout for a long time, and so he's trying to see where he could place me, right? How high could they draft me and me still sign, kind of thing, right? And he said, one time he asked if I would sign if they took me between the 6th and the 8th round, and I said, yeah, probably. And about a week and a half before the draft, Lloyd passed away, and I don't know much about the whole draft process as far as how hard the scouts have to fight for their guys, and I don't know. I'm being told that scouts have to fight for their guys. And I didn't have a scout fighting for me. So I fell a long ways. I fell like 40-something rounds, So so I didn't sign because I had Fullerton was one of my options. But my claim to fame is always my joke is I got drafted 10 rounds before Mike Piazza, who's a Hall of Famer, right? So that was my claim to fame. So, yeah, I could have signed with the Angels. I just, it would have been for a plane ticket to spring training, And so with Fullerton on the board, I had, again, like him, with a full ride back then, I just didn't think I should turn that down. And then I didn't – once I got done with Lewiston, honestly, I loved playing the college thing and college baseball, but I just lost the love of trying to play pro ball. I don't know why. It was never my dream. Like he said, it was never my dream to play professional baseball. It was my dream to make it to Omaha to play in the College World Series. And that's the reason I chose the school I chose, right? But so I just didn't play anymore. And I played 2 summers up in Alaska for the college summer ball wood bat league, and we had a volunteer trainer, and he was from Belgium, and he says, we have professional baseball in Europe. Any guys ever want to play, you just let me know, and I'll send your contact information. And I'd never heard of that. And so I said, well, I'm not going to play pro ball here. Here, yeah, let's do it. Send my information. A couple days later, like 3 o'clock in the morning, because it's stinking noon over there, I get a call from a guy, and he offers me plane tickets, an apartment, and salary, and to come play professional baseball in Belgium. So I went to Antwerp, Belgium for 7 months. It was fantastic. It's like I didn't make it to the big leagues. I didn't get to do that stuff, but I got to do an awful lot of stuff that most people don't because of baseball.
Quick question. So when you were in Belgium for 7 months, how big was baseball in Europe?
So there's every town, just like over there with soccer, every town has soccer. Every town has basketball. Belgium's probably third or fourth. Italy, the Netherlands, Czech Republic, and Belgium are the 4 big ones for baseball, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So when I was there, there's no stadium, you get a few hundred people come watch us and bring their own chairs, and it's almost like going to a high school game, but everybody, there's more people, and it's better than high school baseball, but it wasn't high end. I would consider it probably really high end junior college baseball. It wasn't, So, but I had a great time. On their dime, just traveling Europe. That was pretty cool.
Not everyone could say they played baseball in Europe,
right?
Like competitive professional baseball in Europe.
Yeah.
So that's a cool story.
And then one more to finish mine before he says his, and then a couple years later, I get a phone call, and I don't know who knows who, but a professional club in Italy called and said, "Hey, I know you played in Belgium a few years ago, and you've been, your name came across the board, and we're looking to see if you'd be interested in coming out to manage our club." So I went back a few years later for 7 months again to Novara, Italy, managed a club there. So it's cool, man. Baseball allows you to do some things that you would never get to do.
From player to manager, and then now you own a screen printing business for a baseball team.
Well, and I came back from playing. I'll let him go in, and then I'll jump in when it's my turn again. But
yeah, that's a route I could have taken as well. Some guys that we know that know a lot of people over in Europe too. But by the time I was done playing ball, he was already playing independent ball here in California, or up in Oregon actually. And so there was a team in Salinas, California, which is about 45 minutes south of San Jose, that has a minor league team. And so I just went down there just for the hell of it and threw a bullpen, and they signed me. And so I ended up pitching professionally for a little over 6 years in Salinas, in Madison, Wisconsin, here in Lincoln for the Salt Dogs, the inaugural year, and then Albany, New York. But yeah, it's like he said, baseball just allows you to do so much stuff. I've always wanted to get a sleeve tattoo, and I never knew what to do. And then I just thought one day, I said, I've lived in a lot of places, and so on my arm I have all the outlines of the states I've lived in. Some of them were because when I was little, and my parents were moving because of my dad's work, and a lot of them were because I played baseball. So like he said, baseball lets you do a lot of stuff. You get to meet a lot of people, which we're still friends with, all those people that we played with back in those days.
That's where we met Darren.
Yeah, 80%. That's how we met Darren up in Madison. So yeah, that's it, man. I mean, and then, shoulder injury ended him, and a year later, a shoulder injury ended me. So then we had to go. We had to get to the real world and start working. So that's really about it.
And I was coming back from Italy, and he just signed to play in Madison, which is where Darren was, and it was the head coach that I played for a few years earlier in Bend, Oregon. And he said, we need a pitcher. So I landed, and he calls and says, hey, we need a pitcher. And I said, I'm done, man. My shoulder's done. Like, I can't. He says, come on, it'd be cool to play together. So, I signed the contract and flew out to Madison and played a year and a half with him. And that's where, again, like I said, we played with Darren. But it was cool to be able to play together. My arm was shot way before I got to town, but I just fought through it, doing the best I could, try to survive every outing, you know what I mean?
We played against each other a couple of times, too, when he was up in Bend and Sonoma County when I was in Salinas.
Yeah.
Benches cleared once when we were playing each other, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to throw against each other. I got a little vulture win one time. He threw the hell out of the ball, and I gave him a 2-run bomb in like the 8th to tie it, and then we scored, and I got the W, and he got the loss, and I only threw like 2/3 of an inning or something. So those kind of things happen, man. It's just baseball, but right? it was fun to get to play against him, and then with him for the last couple of years.
So to clarify, you both were pitchers.
Yeah.
Got it. So what topped your love for baseball over all sports, all activities? What was it about baseball that just made you want to put your whole life and dedication into that?
I feel like it's hard, and we want to be challenged in life, and that was a challenge. I don't think football was as much of a challenge than it was baseball. Football, you get PO'd, you go hit somebody, and you're okay. Baseball, you're in trouble if you get, your mentality gets a little wacky. So I think it's just more of the challenge. We started playing, like he said, in the neighborhood. We'd have these tennis ball, baseball games in the big field, and being like a 6-year-old or 7-year-old at that time playing against 12-year-olds, it just helped me be more competitive, and they didn't take it easy on me, which was fine. But I just think it's the competitiveness and watching the games on TV and watching Pete Rose sliding head first into third, and that's what kind of got me going too. Just watching some of those big league games. Finally, when you start understanding the game and start watching the big leaguers, you're like, oh, maybe that's what I want to try to do. I don't know.
We played for one of the better high school programs in the country back then. I mean, it's not that way anymore. But there were all these PBR and all these different rankings and all that stuff. That was USA Today every Wednesday ranked high school sports. You know what I mean? And so that's what we look at. And I mean, my junior year, we were up to number 3 in the country. I think they got up to number 5, right?
Yep.
A few years later. And so kind of a big deal. And so to be able to play for that program, that high school, I mean, growing up, I've told this many times. There was 2 times where I actually got chills putting on a uniform. One of them was Cal State Fullerton, and one of them was putting on my high school uniform for the first time because I watched those kids. From the time I was a little kid in that apartment complex, we'd climb the fence, and those kids were gods at that high school. You know what I mean? So once you become that guy, and all those other kids are now coming to watch you, it was pretty special to play at that high school.
It's true. Like today, you look and these kids are transferring to different high schools all over the place. We don't want to. Like, I don't care how bad Oak Grove was. Like, we grew up.
If it was bad, it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't at all. But we grew up idolizing those kids that played at that high school. We would sneak through the fence and go watch the high school football games and go watch some baseball games. And, we'd go swimming every day in the pools because, parents were working. And so we had to do something in the summer. So we'd go swimming. And
we were on that high school campus all the time.
Yeah, we were on that campus.
By this time, we were probably
we could not wait
8 years old.
Couldn't wait to go to the high school there. A lot of you got like 10 or 11 ex-NFL guys that played at our high school, 3 or 4 MLB guys. I mean, there's a lot of history at that school. So it was fun playing there.
Can you say the high school name one more time?
Oak Grove in San Jose.
Got it.
South San Jose.
I'll do my research on that to see the other ex-NFL players and MLB players.
So I forget what year it was, the 50th anniversary of Major League of the NFL, and I forget what they call it, but
they were given those golden footballs.
They were given golden footballs for trophy cases to every high school in the country, one for each player who has played
in a Super Bowl.
From that high school, and I think we had
It
five.
was like 4 or
something,
5.
Four
yeah.
or five.
Yeah.
Which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a lot
It's a
for
lot.
50
and
states.
it's not made it to the NFL. It made it to played in a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So yeah,
And coached
it's
in
a
the
lot.
Super Bowl, right? Mike
Or
Holmgren
coached.
coached at our high school, and
That was
Marty
his-
Morningwig was his quarterback, and Marty ended up being the head coach in the NFL as well with the Eagles. I mean, with the Lions, he was a coordinator with the Eagles, but with the Lions, and that was Coach Holmgren's first coaching job was at Oak Grove High School, and it's just from there, it's just the history kind
Pretty
of.
cool.
Your high school reminds me of IMG Academy in Florida. Like literally
yeah,
that.
no, it's
Not like that.
we were just a public school. We were just the public school in a big city that could play with all the Catholic schools that were recruiting. You know what I mean? And so
And it was all sports then.
yeah, and it
all
was
sports
all
were good.
like baseball, football, like we were good at everything. But it was not like that. It was just kids from the neighborhood.
There was
You know what I
nobody.
mean? You
There was
couldn't-
nobody transferring in, and there was none of this stuff. And we had a couple of kids transfer into the high school that went to, that maybe was in a bad part of town of San Jose.
Because we had a magnet program. We had the ROTC at our high school. So you could come to our high school. You just had to join the ROTC. And so that's what some of the kids did to get out of a situation that they were in. But no,
Yeah, they would come and they had to wear their ROTC uniforms on certain days, and so they had to they could transfer, but there was a process, and they had to do something for it. They had to do whatever that magnet program was at that school, kind of like Omaha North here. They have their engineer program and the computer science program. A lot of kids go down there just for that thing, and so it's the same kind of thing.
I think I know the answer to this question, but if you guys weren't working in sportswear printing, where would you guys be right now?
well, I'd kick myself every day for not getting into coaching, to be
Same.
honest. I got done playing college ball, and internet still wasn't a thing, really. I mean, there was internet, but nobody knew how to use it or look. I mean, so I went to the library and I found a book that had the year before every Division 1, 2, 3, 4, NAI, whatever, college baseball contacts. I don't know why it was in this bookstore, but I found it and bought that, and I spent a few $100 on stamps and envelopes, and I typed up the thing and hand signed everything, and I sent it to literally every school in the country, looking into how I could be a grad assistant. And I got 2 offers, and both. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just bartend at night or something, and both of them said, no, you have to run the study halls at night. There's no time for you to work. And I said, well, how do I
Afford this.
pay for stuff? Like, they're going to pay for my school. They're going to put me in a dorm. They're going to put me on the food program, but I just bought a used car. Like, how do I pay for my car? And looking back on it, I should have just sold the car and bought a bicycle and took the job. You know what I mean? And just suffered through it, and I didn't do it. And so, yeah, I mean, we go to the ABCA, American Baseball Coaches Association, every year. And
And you see so many guys that we played with that are coaching at fairly high levels now, and you're like, gosh, man, why didn't I take that route?
Yeah, you played with or against, and all these guys are doing what I just that would have been the route, honestly.
So what brought you guys to Nebraska then? If you guys are from
I'll let
California,
you start on that.
So we were living in San Jose, and me and my ex-wife and our 2 boys, and we had a little 900 square foot apartment in Sunnyvale, which is right outside of San Jose, and it was $1,800 a month back then. And we'd get the paycheck, and I'd pay rent, and then the next one we put groceries and diapers and all this stuff, and there's just no extra money. It was so expensive to live, and so we put it in a transfer. Actually, we had moved to Vegas for a year because it was a little bit less, and my dad and my grandmother were there, so we were kind of helping take care of my grandmother as well. And then we put in a transfer for Madison, Wisconsin, or here, because one of my ex-teammates from college, Sean Centeno, he lives here. And I'm like, man, I'm not moving to Nebraska. Are you kidding me? I'm not, no way. But anyway, so we were managing at Chili's at the time, and they said, well, we have a transfer for you to Omaha. And I go, when? They go, June. I go, oh, next year? And they go, no, next month. I'm like, okay. So we literally packed up the house and moved to Omaha. Sight unseen, never been here.
His buddy picked the house
My
out
friend
for him.
Sean picked out the house for me to rent instantly right when we got here. So it was a move that was needed, and we did it blind, and it turned out great. The kids, the education here for the boys were really good. The cold weather is brutal.
Brutal.
But it is what it is, man. You know, you get the sunshine and the beach and, you know, all the big cities in California, but you also pay for that, you know, and we just figured we're still only flight away from everywhere we need to be, right in the middle of the country. And 19 years later, we're still here, 19 years later.
And then I was still in San Jose. I was running a Chili's as well, and I didn't plan on getting married or having kids, so it didn't really matter where I lived, to be honest. I didn't want his kids growing up not knowing who I was. So I came out to visit for the College World Series, checked it out, hung out, and met his boss, the regional manager for the Chili's at the time. Said, yeah, I'd be interested in possibly transferring out here if you ever had an opening. Saying that, knowing there was only 4 stores in the state, there's never going to be an opening. Like, how often is that going to happen, you know? And I don't know how long it was, but I got home, and I'm going to say.
Because I was only here a year before you.
It was probably 2 or 3 weeks after I got back from my little vacation that I get a call from his boss saying, I just fired a GM. Are you still interested in transferring out here? It's like, oh, when? And he was like, 3 weeks. And I thought, holy crap. So I talked to my regional manager, called my regional manager at the time. He goes, yep, he's already called me. He got my approval to talk to you. If you're interested, I'll let you do that for your family to go be with your family. So 3 weeks later, I was driving a U-Haul out here, pulling the trailer with my car on it, and I was heading to Nebraska. You know, same thing. I would have never thought I'd be living in Nebraska. But
So if it wasn't for Chili's restaurant, you guys wouldn't be here.
I don't know, maybe not Omaha. It would have been somewhere because we wouldn't have lived in San Jose very long.
he would have been in the
mid.
his wife was from Madison, Wisconsin. So
I would have
he
been out here
probably would have
somewhere.
been in the Midwest somewhere, and I would have just followed him because I wanted to be by the boys. So
Yeah, we would have been out here somewhere. Don't know where, but
So you guys moved to Omaha, started working for a new Chili's restaurant. Mm-hmm. Now I would love to know how Deremer Sportswear was born.
well, excuse me. My dad had a screen printing company called Coyote Tees in San Jose. Brent took a class in high school, a graphics design class that also screen printed. And he came home and says, hey, with our connections, I think we can probably make some little side money, like a little side business. So we bought a little bit of used equipment and did it in our garage for not very long before we already had to move into a shop, just because of the connections we had with my dad being the president of football and baseball and all that stuff with all the people that we knew.
our high school and everything else.
So we did that. And then my brother and I started playing ball. My dad couldn't do it by himself anymore. He wanted to continue to be a family business, so he just sold it. And when I moved out here, and then he moved out here a year later after I did, my boys started playing t-ball and coach pitch and all that stuff, and there wasn't a lot of options. There was a couple of places in town that did uniforms
That
and
did
stuff.
all the business, right?
They did everything. And I just figured that, we kept talking about it, but we were running restaurants, so we didn't have time to go out and look at buildings and look at, vendors and all that kind of stuff. So when my dad ended up moving out here after my grandma passed,
He retired, moved out here.
he moved out here, and he's asked, what should we do? And we told him, he goes, let's do it. And so while we were working, my dad went around and found the building and got all the contacts and got
Yeah,
the
the time
licenses.
to get all the licenses and set
got
everything
all
up.
that stuff, all the vendors set up, and away we went, and at first we're like, okay, we have to work our other job for a while, and then we can come back here full time. Well, within 6 months, Brent was out of his restaurant job and at the shop full time, and I waited about another 6-8 months.
It took off really fast.
just-
he tells a story. All we did was send text to everybody we know. Hey, that shop we were talking about, it's open.
You guys need some shirts? You guys need some shirts? I mean, that's literally how it started. And then a team's like, hey, can you guys do jerseys? We're like, yeah. We didn't know how to do it, but we figured it out,
Take the orders and figure out how to do it afterwards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Took orders, then we figured it out.
So now, like I tell everybody, we open a screen printing shop, but we've become a custom uniform shop that does screen printing.
So do you guys do the uniforms in this building, or do you guys have a manufacturer do that for you guys?
We have 2 factories overseas for the hand cut and sew sublimated stuff. We do all screen printing here. We do all embroidery here. We do all vinyl here. But all the hand cut and sew sublimated stuff is done overseas.
Speaking about overseas, what I thought was super interesting when I saw your guys' website, you guys also help out with baseball teams in Australia and Japan, correct?
Yeah.
So can you share how those connections were built and like how that even works? Even though
Yeah, so a guy named Steve Fish, who we met through one of our teammates in Madison, got over to Australia after he was done playing ball here, and he played in Nebraska. But anyways, when he was done playing, he got involved somehow with Australia baseball, and so he brings a bunch of kids over to the States and tours the country
every year.
So we started doing his stuff, and that's how we got kind of connected there with Australia, and then Japan. And we've sent stuff. There's been stuff to Cuba. There's been stuff to Japan,
Rome,
Italy. It's another guy named Pete Caliendo who does like baseball tours and stuff over there. We started making that stuff, and so our uniforms have been pretty much all over the world now. So it's pretty awesome.
So he puts together Team USA. They're not Olympic teams or anything, but he puts together teams of kids from all over the U.S. Says, hey, we're going to travel and we're going to tour Italy this year, and so we make the uniforms. We make those uniforms and send them to Rome or send them to Havana or send them to Tokyo or wherever he's going to be to meet. So,
In general, what's the hardest part about making uniforms?
well, you have to be very consistent, right? I mean, I think over the years we continue to increase the quality of our fabrics, but you have to be consistent.
It's extremely detail oriented. Very very detailed.
Yeah. So you have to. People have to. When you end up sitting down and somebody comes to my office and we sit down and we draw it, when they open that box, it needs to look like that, right? And so our biggest thing when we first opened this place, and he was going through it with his kids, going through travel ball and getting fitted at different places, and when you go get fitted, you're trying on one brand of pants, and then the prints you're getting are a different brand, and no brands fit the same. They just don't, for whatever reason, right? They're longer, shorter, wider, whatever it is. And so we made the conscious decision that if we're going to do this, then we do it right, and we spend a lot of money every year bringing in samples. So whatever you try on at that fitting is going to be what your uniform is going to be made of, exactly the same, right? So I think it's a big deal.
When Brent and I started coaching, we had an Omaha Royals team. My younger son played for us, and just one of the companies had misspelled one of the names of the last name on the kid's jersey, which happens. It happens to us too. We try not to let it leave the building. Sometimes it sneaks through, but they wouldn't fix it. Oh, he can't wear it that way. We're like, well, no, it's not his last name, And so right there, we're kind of like,
and they never fixed it.
There's something here. We need to get involved in this and be
never
a player
fixed it,
in the city with uniforms, and they never fixed it. And so that kind of prompted us too, there needs to be somebody here who can take care of people. And
that was about the timing of it, I think. That might have been the last straw where we've been talking about this for 4 years. We got to open this thing. And so that's what we did.
We started off in a little 1,000-square-foot building with cinder block and a tin roof.
Dirt alley
just to kind of get our feet wet and get it started. And we're in this place now, which is, about 13,000 square feet, I guess.
We've added on to this place 3 times since we've been in it.
So we moved here. We've been here for about 6 years now.
So overseas or even in the state of Nebraska, when you see pictures or videos of like a baseball uniform, this is DS3, which is their logo. How does that make you guys feel?
It's awesome.
It's great.
My wife, she's not my wife. We call her fake husband, fake wife. We've been together for 17 years. But when Stephanie sees, we're watching the College World Series, right? And the foul ball goes in the stands, and the amount of kids running around, and she sees it. She goes, "Those your stuff." Or she runs a restaurant here in town in La Vista, and she'll call me all the time or text me. "Hey, there's another team in here. Hey, you got these? Do you make these guys? Do you do this?" And it's funny because she's even to the point now where she doesn't even need to see the logo. Like she sees a design, she goes, "That looks like something you would design. Do you do this organization?" And I said, "Yes." It's awesome. It's so cool to see. And
just walk around the grocery store or
all the time,
walking around Shields or whatever we do, and you see that DS3 or a hat that doesn't say DS3, but we know we made that. The boys do that too. "Dad, I saw like 6 things today at the store or the mall or whatever." So it's just pretty cool to be.
It's like a joke between me and Steph. We'll do it all the time. We'll be walking, this weekend we'll be at junk stock, right? We're going to go out to junk stock this weekend, and we'll be walking, and the entire time we're here, as soon as somebody passes by us, I'll say, "I made that. We made that."
I do the same thing.
So
even if it's a T-shirt, that you made it.
It's just extremely proud, that we've been able to do this for a lot of people, and hopefully we continue to get to do it and for more people. So we're continuing to try to expand, and we try to expand as slowly as we possibly can. Honestly, over the years we've turned down a lot of business because we don't want it to grow too fast. And so we want to make sure that we continue to give the level of customer service to everybody we've been dealing with, we don't want that to change. We don't want them to say, oh, well, it used to be great. You know, we want it to stay that way. So
We had met somebody with the Nebraska Prospects in 2016, and that was their inaugural year as well. And so we kind of joke, we kind of grown up together. You know, like we did their first team. They had one team the first year, and then next year it grew a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. And now it's massive.
now we still do all their stuff.
It's
and
massive. So
their team, their organizations run out of our building. We give them office and
got an
storage
office
area.
here, and so that was a big step for us too. Just kind of getting to know them and becoming really good friends with them. And you know they get approached by the big boys all the time, the Marucci's and you know the Under Armours and all that. But they're like, nope, we got our local guy, we got our guy.
As an outsider who's like not the biggest baseball fan, I'm familiar with Nebraska Prospects, and it's cool to hear that you were with them since practically day one when they went from one team and now
Literally day one.
Yeah.
like I see them on my Twitter account all the time. So
I
it's
don't
cool.
know how many fall teams there are, but I'm going to say high 20s, maybe 30-something teams.
And then there's spring teams and there's summer teams, and right, they're all over the place, right?
Reminds me of Dana White, Donald Trump kind of loyalty together. Start together and then just grow UFC. So,
Yeah.
so that's like the first thing that came to my mind. But
that was cool.
so you guys have played baseball everywhere in the country, or good amount of states, and then overseas as well. So I want to know, how big is baseball in Nebraska compared to these other states?
It's huge.
I don't think anywhere else is. I mean, there might be maybe. I try to word this correctly because there's a lot of talent here. I mean, the baseball community in Nebraska is crazy. A lot of good ball players going all over the school, kids getting drafted now, and the prospects. You know, they help that a lot. I still coach with them too, and so it's fun to see these kids growing up, and now all of a sudden they're juniors, going to be juniors next year. And now the recruiting process starts for these kids. But the Nebraska baseball as a whole is massive. It's not. This is more of a baseball state than anything else. It's
The
really,
kids
it's
grow
really
up here going to the College World Series. Their dream is to play in the College World Series. I mean, it is what it is. So the amount of travel teams here is nuts in this state, right? I mean, it is what it is. And the level of high school baseball is, the high-end teams are really good. I mean, we had a good friend of his came out for his younger boy Drew for his state tournament when he was a sophomore, maybe, right? And that year at Millard West, they had 5 kids throwing 90 miles an hour on a high school team. On one high school team is bizarre, but on one high school team in Nebraska it's absurd, right? Like, it just doesn't happen. And so he comes out for that first day of the state tournament, second day of the state tournament, and he's like, he goes to high school games all the time back home in California still, and he says, the teams here would boat race our teams out back home. The level of baseball was just better. It's really good baseball here. Really good. I think Nebraska gets overlooked a lot. And it started with the prospects when they when they would go down and play in these tournaments, these big tournaments in Atlanta and Fort Myer and Indianapolis, and you know, they're playing against these other, you know, big clubs that the prospects are now, but back then they weren't big. And they're playing against these big national clubs, and they would throw their 5th best pitcher. Well, before you know it, they're down 6 and it's too late, and they just lost to a team from Nebraska. And then the next year they'll throw their 3rd best pitcher, and then now they have to throw their best pitchers because the prospects will beat them. I mean, it's just the Nebraska kids will beat them, and the prospects have been huge in building that Nebraska reputation, I think. I mean, because it's the only way, right? High school teams now, they're doing some traveling in the summer, but high school teams play other high school teams in your area. So the only way for the word to get out really was through what the prospects were doing. So didn't mean to turn this into a prospects game.
No, you're all good.
But they were, I think they've been huge in building the reputation for the kids, and the amount of kids that get recruited now, like he was mentioning, the amount of D1 kids out of this, and not just D1, everybody, ton of kids get recruited out of here every year now.
How important are player and coach relationships in this business?
Player and coach, like in the baseball wise.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played for people that I didn't necessarily care for too much, but it's still a respect thing. You know, I mean, they're the manager of your team. They've earned the right to be a manager of a team, and you just gotta. It's their way. Plenty of guys I loved playing for. Plenty of guys I did not like playing for, but you still got to do it. You know, so that player coach relationship is pretty important. You know, I mean, like even right now with these kids I coach, I mean, we're building better relationships with these guys every day, you know, because I get texts all day, every day from parents and kids about what schools they want to go to, or, you know, going to Kansas City this weekend, who we playing, and just it's the relationship between a player and a coach is massive.
And you don't, and he's right. You don't have to like each other. You have to respect each other, right?
I mean, we've all played on teams that you don't like teammates off the field. You're not going to hang out with them off the field, but on the field, in the dugout, in the clubhouse, you're buddies because you're there to win games, you know. And
That junior college coach we mentioned before, I mean,
we all hated him.
he worked us to the bone, man. I mean, you worked your tail off. But you did it because that's just how it was back then, right? You can't coach the way he coached now. He'd get fired. You can't talk the way you talk. You can't treat the players the way he treated us. But we all left the place excited to leave to wherever we were going. But we all kept in contact. And when you get off the phone, he says, I love you. And you say, I love you. And you know what I mean? To this day, he's now retired. He's in a wheelchair. His health isn't great. He's out in Florida. And there is a Facebook group of all ex-players of our junior college over a 10, 12-year span probably, constantly in contact with him, reaching out. And
that was another JUCO. Probably 10 guys played to the big leagues, got to the big leagues. And I'm gonna walk that back. We didn't hate him. Like, he was hard to play for with the that's the correct. You know, he was hard to play for. If you were 10 minutes early, you were late and you got sent home. If you didn't hustle a ground ball, you got sat. If you didn't get a sack bunt down, you were sitting. If you didn't get a hit and run down, you were sitting. You got to get your stuff done.
You weren't allowed to make a mistake.
You can't make mistakes. The mental part, especially. Physical errors are going to happen, like we always say. The mental part can't happen. And he always thought, like, if you don't get a bunt down, that's mental because you don't want to do it, you know. But like he said, now I went out to Florida a couple of times coaching, and I went to his house and had dinner, and my boys finally got to meet him, and they were dying hysterically because of all the stories that he would tell them about me and Brent, the other guys we played with. And so, yeah, I mean, the relationship now, like he said, once you leave, you kind of look back and go, wow, that guy, he made me a man, like, real quick.
It's like a hate me now, love me later type thing.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, Brent, you brought up earlier how you did not want Deremer Sportswear to grow super fast. One of my questions was, where do you see Deremer Sportswear in 5 years? Do you see yourselves just at this office, or do you see yourself expanding?
Yeah, I don't know if we see ourselves here. I don't. It's hard to say, hard to answer. I don't see us in a bigger place. I don't think we need a bigger place. If we need more room for embroidery or screen printing, more equipment and all that stuff, we can make more room here, I think. I think our biggest expansion will be in our custom lines and our custom lines of uniforms, and now we're rolling out a new line of clothing, shorts and T-shirts and hoodies, not just uniforms. I think that's where it grows. I think we are hiring our first couple of salesmen, nationwide guys. We're gonna have a guy in Southern California, I think a guy in Texas, and a guy in Georgia, maybe.
Yeah.
Here in the next few months, and we're just gonna kind of roll it out slowly. We're members of a Facebook group of all ex-minor league and major league baseball players, right? There's like 16,000 people. There's peons like us who nobody knows who they are, and there's Kurt Schilling and all the big names in there too. Everybody goes in there and just kind of rags on each other, or they kind of try to keep each other business, right? I'm in Ohio. Hey, who does roofing? Somebody will jump in there. Hey, I'm in Cincinnati, and you give each other the business, right? So that's what we're doing, and that's what these guys, and we have a ton of them that want to do sales for us. But we just need to roll it out slowly. I want to do it right. So we have what we're waiting on now is size runs of all the things we do, all the custom things we do that are en route now from our factory, and we'll bag them up and we'll send them to these guys, and then probably fly out to each spot and train them and talk to them. But we're going to start with 2 or 3 of them, and then if it takes off, then we're going to run. So I'm hoping in 5 years, we're one of the places that nationwide is doing your uniforms. Travel ball, high school. I mean, we do high school now here in town. Some of it's hard because some of them have contracts with a big boy company. But we're doing spring for baseball. We're doing spring for, I think, 4 teams this year. And then we do a lot of the Legion summer because those contracts don't count Legion. And I think we're up to 4 junior colleges. We do their uniforms in Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas. So just growing it little by little. And I think if things go well and we do it the right way and we don't try to do it too fast, I think in 5 years I think we're all over the place. I'm hoping. That's what we're hoping.
I'm wondering, outside of the store, how do you guys manage time management? Because Scott, you're a father, so how do you manage playing the role of dad and then also being a sportswear owner?
I got 2 boys. They're 22 and 20. Justin works here full time with us. We had talked earlier. He got injured in his first year of junior college baseball, so it kind of eliminated him from playing further. And Drew is playing baseball at Murray State down in Kentucky. And so I don't get to see him very often. We text every day, but
easier now than
yeah.
when the kids
when the kids were little and I was running restaurants
sure.
and still trying to coach and doing all that, that was very difficult because I'd get home at 2 a.m. and I had to be back at work the next day at 10 a.m. and that was a grind. This to me is fun. I got my son working with us. I work with my brother. Our dad was involved. So we're going to be family oriented forever. Honestly, we'll hire outside people to help us out, but this is family. But yeah, so to go back to answer your question, it was tough. It was very tough being a dad and a restaurant manager and a baseball coach and all this stuff. But it's worth it. It was worth it.
Do you see Justin taking over? So you for sure see Justin taking over the store eventually?
Never. We don't know. I mean, we would like that eventually. He's got a lot of stuff to learn, and we got to teach him that stuff too.
Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know. I mean, who knows?
He may not even want to do that, right? I mean, he may come across something that gives him more joy than this does.
And maybe Drew comes back from school too, and they both want to do it. Who knows? I don't know.
I want to talk about your guys' father real quick because he also helped you guys a lot with this store. So unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago, as you guys said. So when he was here, how impactful and important was it having his support and his help as he had prior experience with screen printing? How important was that with his help?
Well, he was a big help, like Scott said earlier, getting it started, right? Because we just didn't have time. We're working 65, 70 hours a week, restaurants, and so he was able to get all the licensing and go around looking for buildings and tell us where they were, and we'd skip out of the restaurant for 20 minutes and go check out the building and get, that kind of thing. So he was huge getting it started. Once we got it started, he's kind of the greeter, man.
He was our Walmart greeter.
Yeah, he was older. He couldn't do the work.
He was involved. He was involved with paying the invoices, doing some financial stuff, that kind of stuff. But as far as the screen printing and all that, it was Brent and I. We did
but
it all.
But he was. Everybody knew him. Everybody who came in here knew Gary was in that office, and they'd go say hi to him before they came to my office or his office to actually do the business. So, he was huge help to get it going, and then just the face of it, really, everybody knew who he was. It's just like back home with baseball and football.
Yeah, he wasn't here very long before everybody knew who he was. With the travel ball growing up, how many games these kids play. And I'm trying not to exaggerate, if there was 120 games between the 2 boys in the summer, he was probably at 118 of them. Whether it was in Des Moines, Kansas City, he would travel with us too. And then every single high school game, even towards the end when he was in a wheelchair most of the time, the scooters, to get around, he was still at the games, and everybody at the high schools knew who he was, the little leagues, the travel teams. It was pretty good. It was pretty awesome to be involved with him.
What are the core values of Deremer Sportswear when you guys work with other baseball teams?
Yeah, no, our thing is I don't know if we've ever sat down and said, hey, let's create core values. It's just treat people the right way, man. If our whole thing, and things go wrong in this business, right, especially with custom things, names get spelled wrong, and you just can't let people be surprised by it. If you tell somebody, hey, your stuff's going to be ready in 4 weeks, well, on day 28, you can't call them and say, hey, we messed it up. You got to call them on day 12 and say, hey, made a mistake. We're running a little behind. We'll try to make up some time somewhere and we'll still get it done, you know?
And most of the people are totally fine with that
If you do
because
it
if
that
they're
way-
doing 4 weeks, they probably need them in 7 weeks. So we still got a little bit of time. But like he said, if we tell them ahead of time saying, hey, this happened, we're getting it fixed before you get it, most people are very understanding about it. It's when you don't tell them is when they get upset.
Our whole thing is giving as high a level of customer service,
No, you're all good.
as high a level of customer service as we possibly can. You can't do everything that people need or want, but you try to do as much of it as you can.
There's been several times where, like, going back to the jerseys, like, can you guys do this? We're like, yeah. There's been several instances, you know, little, whether it's little sublimated keychains or arm sleeves or something. We haven't done it, but we'll figure it out, and that's what we do.
Do you guys have any memorable uniforms or just memorable times of making a uniform for a certain team that come to mind?
Every year there's new favorites.
Well, going back to our Royals team, we were kind of like we tried to be like the billboard for Deremer Sportswear on that Royals team that we had.
It was right after we opened, right? So
we were trying to get to that cream color uniform, and the factory couldn't get it done. They just couldn't figure out the color. So the last time that they came in, they were like Vegas gold, head to toe. And knowing that Florida State, when they make it to the College World Series, they come and they wear those uniforms. And
they were hideous.
They were bad, but we always told the boys, listen, if we wear these, we better win when we wear these uniforms. You better play good when we wear these uniforms.
Those are memorable for a bad reason, I think. But every year there's a few that we do that are like those are top 5.
And we started dabbling into some basketball stuff, and recently we've done some stuff for some friends. And he goes, hey, I want to look like Kansas. And Brent does all the design work and the artwork and stuff, and they got the uniforms, and it looked like Kansas was playing.
Look like 12-year-old Kansas Jayhawks. You know what I mean?
That's
fun.
Brent's
creating
biggest
stuff.
thing is, hey, what if you like a college team or a pro team and you like that design, then let me know and we can go off of that. And so that's how a lot of it derives too, but most of it comes from him just getting design work done.
Do you guys have any personal favorite uniform colorways? So like mine's like the UNC baby blue and white, or like the Ole Miss navy blue, red, white.
Yeah, I think
There's everything baby blue is awesome.
there's a few. Navy and baby blue is awesome, right? It's great. I think I never thought I did until Drew, his freshman year, played college ball. Black and gold's cool, man. And I know we're in Nebraska,
I'm in the same
and
boat
everybody
as you.
hates Iowa, but black and gold uniforms, Steelers or Pirates, Iowa, like it looks great. And then really crazy off one. I'm a Padres fan, and I love the brown, gold, and orange. I love it. We had a team here last year, 9-year-old team that wanted to look like the Padres from the 80s. And I'm telling you, they were awesome. They turned out great. So, yeah, that's same with you.
Yeah.
The Navy and baby blue, I think, is the best. for
And
sure.
I'm a Cardinal fan, and so with the Prospects, they've done stuff in the past where instead of the 2 birds were on the bat, it was 2, the Mr. Met with the big baseball head. We have one that the Prospects call Mr. Spect, and so we had 2 of those sitting on the bats on the jerseys, and then the hat had the same thing. So being able to mock up stuff like that, MLB teams and stuff that you like, and it's pretty rewarding when the final product is done. It's pretty rewarding.
Yeah.
Brent, you brought up earlier how you already have, like, you guys have been working with high schools with uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name those high schools if you're allowed to?
Sure. For the spring this year, Millard South will be wearing some of our stuff. Papillion La Vista South, Lincoln East,
We've done stuff for Elkhorn South.
Elkhorn South, yeah. And then, so really, like I said, because of those contracts,
Bellevue West.
we don't do a
Oh,
ton.
not the spring. That's Legion.
But once Legion kicks around, we do a ton of them. So, looking to do more.
And for context, Legion is summer ball, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
High school summer ball.
Yeah,
Thank you.
American Legion. So yeah, we do a bunch of them in the Legion because those are never part of the contract.
So last major question I have is you guys also help out with football teams and other sports, right? Like basketball. How I know baseball is your number one thing, but how different is like helping football coaches and basketball coaches than baseball coaches?
They're all very different because baseball generally travel ball. nowadays everything's custom, right? And so the first game's not until, let's say, April 1st around here. Well, we're doing fittings now. We're doing two fittings tonight, 2 different teams. So we did 2 last night. We did 5 last week, and then we'll do anywhere from 6 to 8 every week for the next 3 months. And so you got plenty of time to get the baseball stuff done. Football, I mean, you got like a month from the time they say, okay, here's our sizes and our kids' names and numbers till their first game. And so
It happens quick.
football's hard. Football's very difficult. So it's kind of the reason I think our football jerseys, I'd put our football jerseys up against Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, all of them. Like, I think they're fantastic. But we don't go after the football business. And I'll be quite honest with you, because I'm afraid to get too much of it, because I don't know how to get it done in the time frame that we're given, right? Basketball, whole different deal. There's like 7 kids on a team, 8 kids on a team, whatever it is. So much smaller orders, so you can kind of turn and burn them a little bit and get them done quicker. Less items. Baseball, most of them are going to be standard as 2 hats, 3 jerseys, 2 or 3 pants, 2 socks, 2 belts, pretty standard stuff. Basketball, they want everything reversible, so they don't have a ton of pieces. So it's reversible jersey, reversible shorts. Here's your uniform. And you're done. There's no belts, right? There's no hats. There's none of that stuff. So
All these kids get their, whatever number they want, the names on the back. I only say that because, when we were kids, if you're the smallest kid, you were number 1. If you're the biggest kid, you're number 12. And
if they fit, they fit. If they didn't, they didn't.
The
right?
pants you got, sometimes they had holes in them, but we didn't care. We just wanted to play baseball. We didn't have all the sunglasses, and I can't imagine going to my dad and asking him for $150 pair of sunglasses when I was 11. He would have probably thrown me through a wall.
Would not have happened. Would not have happened.
But no, I mean, it's the youth sports is exploding even more and more every year. And we just want to be a part of it and making people happy and making people look good. And the old saying, "Look good, you play good," and that's what we try to do.
Drives me crazy when I just don't think it's the little things with uniforms. When I'm driving by a field and I see 7-year-old kids with their numbers tucked into their pants because they put numbers that are too big for 7-year-old kids, it drives me nuts. I hate it. So whenever I see that, I make a note. I got to call that organization next year. There's no way they're happy with those. They can't be. So it's just the little things to me when it comes to uniforms. What size should the numbers be? What size should the name be? How big are these kids? They shouldn't be the same. Every one of them's different. Should be different, and it makes it that much. It just makes it that much harder. But to do it right and take the time to do it right, it's not easy.
I mean, there was another time we were looking, and a buddy of ours was coaching, and he sent us the jerseys of his team.
It was local
And
here.
there was the smaller jerseys. The number was way smaller than the kids that were bigger, but they're on the same team. It was different size numbers. It just can't happen. You're gonna have a kid who's maybe 95 pounds and another kid who's 165 pounds on the same team, but we need to make the numbers the same size. So we need to find that good number that looks good on both jerseys. So.
A question that just popped up to my head. So during the Carl's World Series, do you guys ever set up a tent or do any go to the Charles Schwab Field and market yourselves, or do you guys just
No?
It's
vacation. We just go to games and have fun.
okay?
It's tough to manage those tents. You got to be there probably starting at like 8 in the morning. You got to be there till 10 o'clock at night.
12 or 13 straight days.
We gotta
be there the whole time.
We got to run the business, and our employees need to be here helping us run this business. So it'd be tough to. I think that's the biggest thing is just managing it.
For us to do that, we'd have to probably close this while we're doing that. You know what I mean? And just the heat when you're in those tents, and then the storms that come ripping through there, and we just haven't even considered it, honestly.
Do you guys usually go to baseball games like Storm Chasers, Lincoln Salt Dogs, Nebraska, or Cornhusker baseball, Creighton Blue Jays?
Very rarely. Got some kids that I've coached that play at Nebraska and at Creighton and at UNO, so it's fun to go watch them play every once in a while. But the Storm Chasers, I think I went to 2 games this year. It's not that I don't want to go. It's just, being here 8 to 10 hours every
Trying
day.
to fit them in, it's just not
I
easy.
just want to go home and relax, or we have practice afterwards or whatever. But, they're fun to go to. I just don't get to them a lot.
And I'm more of a college baseball. I go to college baseball games. we both do.
Yeah.
And I didn't for a while. And then once Drew started playing college ball, I'm like, let's go, man. When's the
That was
the
fun.
next game? You know,
He played at Iowa his freshman year, so we
did a
went
lot of
all
traveling
we went
that
all
first
over
year.
the place, and he got to pitch at Ole Miss, which was pretty amazing. That was pretty
It's
awesome.
awesome. Ole Miss was wearing the baby blues that day. It was cool, man.
Yeah, it was fun. So now he's at Murray State, and we'll do a little bit more traveling to that part of the country and watch him play.
Add Kentucky to the list, huh?
Yeah,
It's pretty cool. Murray State made it to the College World Series as an underdog this year.
yeah. He was the first. He was the first one to sign in this class with him with Murray State. So
He was going through the whole process before they made their run. So it was kind of cool that all of a sudden, okay, they win conference. And, you know, Coach texts Drew, hey, what do you think? And then they go to Ole Miss, right? And they win regionals. Hey, what do you think of that? We're next step. And they go to Duke and win and like, see you in Omaha. So that was pretty cool. And the guy was smart, man. He invited Drew to some of the activities here in town, right, with the team. And so, yeah, he signed when they were still here. And the guy wrote up the scholarship paperwork sitting in the stands watching a game.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it was
Thanks for
pretty
sharing
cool.
that, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Well, if any baseball coaches or any sport coaches are listening and they're interested in contacting you guys for potential uniforms or sportswear to be made, how can they contact you guys?
Yeah, DeremerSportswear.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're website, all that stuff.
You can call us at 402-861-0411 or email us both either at Scott or Brent at DeremerSportswear.com.
And then do you guys know your social media usernames or account names at all by heart? If not,
I think our Twitter is Derm Sportswear, DERM Sportswear. Same with Facebook. I think Facebook is just straight Deremer Sportswear. And then Twitter is Derm Sportswear.
awesome. Do you guys have any last words to share with my audience about anything, whether it's starting your own business or just working in baseball?
No, I'll be honest with you. Business wise, like I said, I think it's helped us to not grow too fast. And I mean, it took off quick and it got scary fast. Right? We're like, how are we going to do this? You figured it out, but you can't let it get out of hand. You know what I mean? Baseball wise, man, just have fun playing baseball. Like, who was it the other day? They were talking to Scoble and
Skeens.
Skeens, Paul Skeens, and they're like, between you guys, how many college offers did you have? 1 and 2. They're the 2 best pitchers in baseball.
Schoolboy says, I got one from Seattle and I went. You know,
And
Seattle
Scoble's
U.
like, all these kids feel like they need to be good at 12, ready to get college recruited, right? Because I wasn't even good till I was 26. You figure it out later. Just play baseball, have fun, man.
And Skeens went to the Air Force as a catcher.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Didn't even start pitching until like his junior in college. And, you know, those kind of stories are pretty awesome. You know,
They're rare, though. I
there's-
get it, but
There's some.
I'm
brain farting right now, but the center fielder for the Royals.
Carter Jensen?
No, this was back in their World Series years. He went on to play somewhere else. He free agent.
Did you say center fielder or catcher?
Center fielder.
Oh, yeah. Carter's not a center fielder.
No, I'm brain fart. I can't remember his name, but the guy didn't even start playing baseball till high school. So, you know, there's ways around not playing since you're 7 all year round. You know, it's fun to do that, but these kids just need to know, like Brent said, that you don't have to be the best at 12 or even 16 or 17 or whatever. Some kids always they mature and they get bigger and stronger a lot later than others. So, you know, it's just have a good time, man. It's fun. It's a fun game. You can make it not fun real quick by, you know, just getting upset at yourself at certain situations and all that. We just got to understand that it's a mistake-driven game, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes and just got to move on.
Brent, Scott, I appreciate you guys having me over here and allowing me to get your story out and share your business and how all that happened. So appreciate it, guys.
Thank you
We
very much.
appreciate you coming in. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for listening. Tune in soon.